He's out of town.
I'm going home.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
Bye, Dorothy.
Bye, Dorothy.
Correct. He is out of town. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here today. Today is Monday, April 14th, 2025. The time is now 5:09 in the afternoon. We are here at the Mesilla Town Hall for a public hearing for the Mesilla Board of Trustees meeting. The first, the public hearing that we're having today is specifically for ordinance updates and codes to get public input on those. This is a code update to section 5.05 for business registration, and then an ordinance creation for murals, sculptures, and public art. So we will kick this off right now at 5:09 with opening the public hearing for this. Before we get started, any members of the public that are wanting, do you have your certification? Yes. So, all right. We do need to take a quick break while Gloria gets the certification for oath. Is that one on? Do you know the microphone?
Yes.
What's that? Oh, it's great. It's just been busy. All right. So it is 5:12 and we will be resuming our public hearing here with this. So with the certification of all those to give testimony, those that are wanting to give testimony on either one of the ordinance or the agenda items this evening, if you will please stand and raise your right hand. And Gloria will administer the oath of office.
Ready? I, please state your name,
Catherine Mary Cambridge.
do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will tell the truth,
that I will tell the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
I solemnly, sincerely,
Sincerely,
and truly declare
and truly declare
and affirm that I will tell the truth,
that I will tell the truth,
and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
so help me God.
Great. Thank you very much. Our first item on the public hearing agenda is an ordinance for code update to section 5.05 for business registration. Mr. Salazar, if you'll give a little background, and then we'll open it up fully to public comment.
Okay, good evening, Mayor, Board of Trustees. My name is Eddie Salazar with the Community Development Department. We did review I reviewed our business registration ordinance, and there are some day-to-day, I don't want to say issues, but I guess there are issues that we come up with when it comes to business licenses. Recently, we just renewed our licenses. We do have some businesses that are in default; they're unregistered. There's some of them that haven't been registered for a couple years. We are definitely working on getting them into compliance, and I think some of that has to do with the late fees that we have in our ordinance. We do have in our ordinance a section in our code that I don't feel that the fee is enough to persuade or to motivate these business owners to get their business licenses renewed on time. And I'll review the ordinances here shortly. Another section was that there was a section in the code where it wasn't very clear. It was pretty vague. It stated that any person or party doing business at Town of Mesilla is required to have a business license. We just wanted to be a little bit more clear on exactly what that meant, because there were some questions if some vendors or contractors, landscape, anybody in general fell under that category. And lastly, also that the short-term rental, the ordinance that we recently adopted, I wanted to reflect also in the business registration part of it to better understand, to better explain, or be a little bit more clear on what is expected of a short-term rental operator when it comes to operating a short-term rental, meaning having the business registration and also a permit. If you look in front of you, you should have your ordinance amendment proposal in front of you. There are very minimal redactions. All of it is in blue. Is proposed to add to our ordinance, and the very first one will be 505.010 under definitions, where it says place of business means any location, office, address, shop, stall, stand, building, or other sites where a person engages in business, not just included online. There, obviously with the new technology, there's a lot of businesses that are operating online, providing they have a Mesilla business license that will fall under that category. 5.05.030 applications to do business, and this is what I was talking about, is any person or entity to include vendor services, contractors, is the addition, and then it goes on to the remainder of the ordinance where it says they need to get a business license through the Town of Mesilla. Currently, I am again, because of that interpretation, we are expecting construction contractors to obtain a business license while they are applying for a zoning permit as well. So that there are actually quite a few of them, and that additional revenue obviously would help the town. 505.030, section B, a business license is required for each location of business, and also if it falls under a different class, such as retail, restaurant, STR, construction, service, and etc. And one of the reasons why, again, I've come across, so some people applying, is there are some businesses that have more than one business. There are some businesses that have in the same location they want two different kinds of businesses. For example, last week there was one that has a retail, but a part of that at the same address, he is asking for a short-term rental license, and he's asking, so does that fall under the same business license? And I like to propose that if it changes, there's different class, then it should fall under different categories. It should fall under each individual license for it. And if you have more than one location, that you should expect to have a business license as well. If you go on to the next page, 5.05.060 under penalties. This is where I was talking about as far as being late or not having your business licenses renewed on time. If any person shall engage in business within the limits of the town of Mesilla without paying the business registration fee required by this chapter or any fees in other chapters, when the same shall become due and payable, such person shall, in addition to required fee, pay a penalty. And you notice I've got a reduction there of $10 per year. I put $50 per month. And then it continues to go on and says, if the required business registration fee and any penalty are not paid within a redacted 30 days and I added 90 days of date, the amount of such business registration fee and any penalty shall become a lien upon a personal property, and then it goes and so on and so on. That part I didn't change, but again, I understand why that's in there in case somebody does not pay their late fees. In blue there, at the bottom of the paragraph, I did include if fees and penalties not paid 90 days after expiration due date, license shall be revoked and a new business license application should be necessary for reconsideration. And the reason why I added that is just for one, we do have some businesses that are no longer in business that somehow forget or don't think that they have to contact the town of Mesilla to close their account before they move. And it's very difficult to track businesses like that because some of them don't have storefronts. Other ones are just online or maybe a Mercado or something that if you don't notify the town of Mesilla that you want to close your account, it will continue to stay active. And that's when you come across late fees. I don't want a business where a person to have to pay 2 years of late fees or even 6 months. I think 90 days is sufficient enough for them to be able to renew their license and or pay their late fees if need be. Again, that's just a number. I mean, we could go 6 months to a year. It depends. It's up to the trustees. Just my recommendation. I wouldn't want my business license to continue if I was already living somewhere else or no longer operating it. So we got to cut them off at one point for the purpose of not being able to have to put a lien on their property. It's one thing I'm trying to avoid, which can get very complicated. Other than that, it's a very simple proposed to amend, and I stand by or for any questions or comments.
And thank you, Eddie, for that explanation. There won't be questions from the board as this is a public hearing. So if there are any members of the public that wish to comment on the changes in the chapter 5.05 for business registration, please step to the podium, state your name for the record. No comments? Okay, thank you, Eddie, for that on that side. The next item on the agenda for our public hearing is an ordinance for murals, sculptures, and public art. And I'll give a little update on this, on what we had. Last year, we had actually created an ad hoc committee that was comprised of, oh my gosh, there's 6 members in that ad hoc committee that were giving inputs on an ordinance update or new ordinance creation, as well as some other areas that we were focusing on public art and installations and signage, so on and so forth. But what we have here is a new proposed ordinance that would be sitting alone outside of the ordinances of zoning and sit by itself. It is specifically for murals, sculptures, and public art. As it's noted on there, just as it's stated, for the purpose is to enhance the aims or aims to enhance the town's cultural aesthetic, the economic vitality by promoting and regulating public art installations, including murals, sculptures, and other forms of creative expression. It recognizes the unique character of each zone and balances artistic expression with the preservation of community standards and historical integrity. Following through with the rest of our code, it does go through definitions on through all areas of public art. And we touched on every zone in the definitions, general requirements for public art, what the installations must meet requirement wise, and then going into district specific guidelines, touching on historic residential, historic commercial, residential zoning, rural agricultural and rural farm zones, and then the general commercial zone as we have that. Then there's property specific requirements, that being public property, those owned by residents, that owned by the town, and then private property, which is those owned by residents within the town. In there, we have also noted the application process that does include an applicable application fee and then a timeline for review. We have maintenance and removal of public art and how that would be maintained and upkept in there, and enforcement of penalties along the way. We also do have the recommendation of creating a new board or committee through this. A PAC committee is what it's titled, Public Arts Committee, with the role of this committee being the oversight of all of the applications as they're initially submitted. The important thing that I will note, and it was a discussion and a point to move forward with the committee, was that for public art in specific, for that is in the rural farm zone and rural agricultural zone, the PAC committee would serve as the basic final decision for those that are made up, or that when those decisions and applications are brought forward. And then all other oversight for every other zone would be coming through the PAC with recommendation from the PAC going to the PZAC, with the PZAC having the final approval that it meets the historical requirements of all the other zones, or the not just the historical requirements, but all of that in there. You'll note that the membership of the PAC in specific, and why that determination came forward, is because one representative of the Mesilla Board of Trustees will serve as the chairperson, as the committee chair for the PAC. There will be one representative from the Planning and Zoning Commission that will serve as the vice chair. And then we'll have one local artist or art professional, one community member with an interest in public art, and then one representative from the business or nonprofit community. So that way we have representation all around. That's why we were looking at the final decisions being completed before the PAC, as well as the Planning and Zoning Commission as it is. And then it goes into the duties of the specific part of the PAC, the meetings when they would be held and applicable, and then more so the oversight and reporting that would be coming to the Mesilla Board of Trustees as that oversight and all of that. So just generalized overview of all of the work that was completed on this. And I will now turn it over to the public to give input. So if you would step to the podium and state your name for the record.
Good evening, trustees. My name is Catherine Walkinshaw. I live at 2134 Calle de Principal in Mesilla, and I was a member of the ad hoc committee that helped prepare this ordinance. So I'm asking you to please consider approving it. It was a well thought out process. I appreciate the mayor forming a committee to help us do this. And I think you'll see that it really, I think, would lay out a process for us to meet the needs of various stakeholders and hopefully bring some great public art to this community. I do want to point out that under district specific guidelines under historic zones, and I pointed this out last week at the PZAC meeting and where they had a work session on the sign ordinance, there needs to be, make sure that there's cross representation and reference between the sign ordinance and this, because this talks about a mural being used as a sign, and there's nothing in the sign ordinance right now that talks about that. So we need to make sure that that is corrected. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Walkinshaw.
Mary Helen Raichi, 2231 Calle de Santiago. I was also a member of the committee. I think it was well thought out, lots of input from the committee members, and I think it's something that we have needed for a long time to come forth as far as public art. So I am encouraging us to get that done and to move forward. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Raichi. Other public comment? No other public comment on the ordinance this evening? All right, well, if there's no other public comment, then the time is now 5:29, and I will close our public hearing. So we will do that. We'll take a short, because the meeting agenda, we did say that we were going to immediately follow the public hearing. So we'll take a quick 5-minute recess, and then we'll jump right into our regularly scheduled Board of Trustees meeting. So if we can reconvene at 5:35.
February birthdays. For maybe 30 minutes it's here. I'm going to Jack, so it's good for me just to do it over. Nice, but they're quite expensive. Like for $5 for a. Well, it's a 2 gallon. But they're at 16 at Lowe's. Yeah. So I just say, it's here. We're only $49 and at Lowe's they were 16. And she said they were rented over, that's why. You're right, because mine is, like I said, the flower drop with the line. I had it on that trellis. I know, it's, that's why, I know, and I'm gonna, if we can get the raised beds.
They were, when I was there, they were getting. Not yet. When I come back to Oh, yeah.
I got so messed up on the meetings because I thought
Oh, because of the
last
2 weeks.
weekend I was, I was like, okay, because then I thought, isn't this the second Monday? No, it's not. It's the first Monday. I was like, well,
Yep.
I'm gonna have to. I was too embarrassed to ask
But I'm gonna-
anybody else. I was good, but I thought I bet because I could have missed something.
Yeah.
And we did have a meeting, so I had to text you, even though I
Just
knew
checked, yeah. We didn't have a packet, but I was still like, do we have a meeting? Yeah.
I mean,
Same.
did I miss something? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I thought, how could I have missed that? I sat through all the meetings that we didn't have a meeting, but I was just determined that Monday had been the first.
Yeah. I kinda-
All right, everybody. Thank you very much. Moving forward, today is Monday, April 14th, 2025. The time is now 5:35 in the evening. We are here for the regularly scheduled Board of Trustees meeting at the Mesilla Town Hall. Our first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'll please stand with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next order of business is roll call and determination of a quorum. Gloria, if you would help out, please. Present.
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 Great. And trustee Novatus is out of town and did tell me that he would not be present at this meeting. Next item are changes and approval of the agenda. And I do have one change to make to the agenda, and that would be to move item number 5, the presentation of a proclamation by MIRVDA for National Public Safety Telecommunications Week to be moved to be heard after the action and consideration item number 7, in between 7 and 8 for before public input.
So moved.
Second.
It's a motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick, seconded by Trustee Cadena. Are there any other changes to the agenda? Seeing as there are none, Gloria, if we can have a roll call to approve the agenda as it's been amended.
Yes.
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 Great, thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is approval of the consent agenda that does include the BOT minutes for our March 24th, 2025 work session and regular meeting. a purchase requisition for A Mountain Construction for our Kylie Picacho project. This is in the amount of $347,000, 81 cents or $81.38. Purchase requisition for ESA Construction for our public safety building renovation in the amount of $61,074.95. And then the purchase requisition for the second part of our and final payment for our website to be completed by $5,745.86.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick, seconded by Trustee Cadena. And unless there's objection or discussion, the motion will carry with the unanimous consent. Motion carries. Thank you for approval of the consent agenda that does include the BOT meeting minutes for March 24th, work session and regular meeting, the purchase requisition for A Mountain Construction, the purchase requisition for ESA Construction, and then the purchase requisition for an IMCO studio. Next item on the agenda is public input on the cases that are being heard this evening. If there's any member of the public that has any input on the cases that are being heard, please step to the podium, state your name for the record. Thank you, Ms. Kruger. Is there any other public comment? If you have comment, then now would be the time to say it.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And just make sure you state your name for the record.
We had it divided by, who divided the property? Yeah, we had a map made that they all looked at the subdivision, and it was previously subdivided. Yeah. When we bought it, the owners just put it together and required us to buy both buildings, but it had already been subdivided, and they just lumped it together due to the sale of the property, and it was subdivided prior, so we just went with the subdivision that's prior and an architect. So I do have the maps and stuff. So it's nothing new.
Great. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just public comment right now, so there won't be any answers or anything or questions from the board. Thank you, Ms. Hatfield. Is there any other public comment? All right, seeing as there is none, we'll move forward with our agenda items under item number 7, action and consideration for new business for discussion only. The ordinance for code update to section 5.05 for business registration. As mentioned, this does not need any type of motion or anything to that. It's just discussion amongst the board for this. And I will say that in following process, my anticipation is for the discussion here that we have here for this specific code update to for business registration. If there's anything that comes out of discussion here, we can make those changes to the recommendations and hopefully have a resolution at the next meeting. That's for the specific item for item A. Is there any discussion on item A for code update to section 5.05 for business registrations?
I think the only thing that I would recommend is that when it's in here on the second page, under letter B, we have the acronym for the short-term rental, STR. I think we definitely need to spell that out
Okay.
prior. That's the only thing I had to mention.
And I think that we should probably also just review, and I know we still need to have legal review this, but just review the et cetera being added in there because that kind of
Leaves it open.
very broad. So, and if it can be left, maybe there's just the pause in between all of that. Any other discussion?
Eddie, I know we were working on a fee schedule or like simplified fee schedule. Once we make that, are we gonna make changes to this again? Or will it just stay the same?
I'm sorry, say it one more time.
You know how we wanted to make
Correct.
like compromise an entire fee schedule on
Mm-hmm.
one page? That way, if it needed to be changed, it was just that one page. Once that's done, are we gonna go back and change that in here and take it out of here? Or are we gonna leave the fees of this part in here?
Yeah, I think the goal of the fee schedule is to have all the fees in one quick reference, one spot. You can take it out, but it's not really necessary to take it out since we don't have a fee schedule yet. You know, we got to have it on there. But I think it's just to references. Obviously, you don't want it contradicting. But yeah, it's just, the fee schedule is more for one quick reference. But taking it out obviously would help some of that. But it depends, whatever the trustees. Either way, I'm good with that. But for now, we do need to have it on there because we don't have a fee schedule.
Any other discussion, trustees?
Yeah, I think, Eddie, these are really just minor changes, but I think they're, be more comprehensive. And I think that your idea here about the 50 per month might be an
Are they
incentive.
persuaded?
And
Yeah.
then having an end date on it, like a 90-day. And hopefully that will help you keep track of things too. Part of it is tracking all of this, right?
Mhm.
So I know you just finished like a round of getting the business registration. So it's a calendar year is what you're looking at?
Yeah, well, that was actually a thought as well, that maybe because every year it is pretty extensive to do all the renewals and do the reminders and and just the whole paperwork. That whole month is just nothing. So that maybe we could do it biannually, so where it the efforts of having to do it every year redundantly to where I do it biannually, to where the applicants or the business owners wouldn't have to do it the same thing. That was the thought, but it wasn't really. I don't think it was. I don't think we're quite ready for that.
Okay.
But it was definitely.
Okay, well, that might be something, maybe if you got it somewhere central and knew and got the stuff that's outdated out, because maybe this will provide that, right? Because if anything's older than 90 days, they have to start over anyway. As soon as this is approved, is that what we're looking at?
Yes, and we're actually in the process right now of using a new software, or I guess an add-on to our Tiger Solutions software that we have. And that's definitely specific for business licenses and stuff. So it will send you out notifications, which ones are, right now as it stands, we have to physically go in and run the report, you know, and figure out which ones have paid, which ones haven't paid. So it's very time consuming to do that. With Tiger Solutions, with Magnesia, we were talking that should help out.
Okay. And just curious, like, what does that list look like right now? Like, is it several pages of names of people that have businesses in Mesilla?
Well, we're only talking a handful, maybe 5 to 8.
That are not here anymore?
Correct.
But how many total businesses do you think you?
Total businesses? I wish I would have had a number. I don't know. I
Okay.
would say maybe a little over 200.
Okay.
But it's growing. It's growing again because of the accountability for contractors and all that. There is significant-
Right. So you're pretty much saying, like, if anybody says they want a contractor to come in to do to redo the yard or something, they have to get a business license in Mesilla?
They come in to try to pull a permit from me, they definitely have to get a business license.
Okay. All right.
Unless you got a yard sale. I'll let that one.
A yard sale? All right. Well, I'm just, because, people come in from all over to do little jobs. I just wondered what your take was on that. All right.
Any other discussion, trustees? Seeing as there is none, we'll move forward to item B, discussion only for ordinance, a proposal for mural sculptures and public art as it's been presented. With this one, I will say that this one had the review of the ad hoc committee, public hearing now, and then discussion by the board, but I would like to have it also reviewed by the Planning and Zoning Commission. And then get feedback from them. So it'll go to their next meeting for review by the Planning and Zoning Commission, and then it'll come back to us for one more review before we move forward with the potential resolution of adoption. But I just wanted to open it up for initial conversations and discussion for the ordinance as it has been proposed and written. So
Mayor.
I'll open it up with that. Trustee.
So I'm not comfortable. I have concerns with granting this committee so much authority to make the determination of what is accepted and what goes up. They're not a governing board. R1 zone on the first page, it states all decisions by PAC are final. It states the same under RA and RF zones. All decisions by the PAC are final. They're not a governing committee. While there's a trustee that will be assigned, I don't think they, it's just my personal opinion, should have that much authority, because that's where things can get out of hand and fall through the cracks if people want to. And I might be misinterpreting, like a mural or something. The under RA and RF, letter B, it states large installations visible from public roads may require additional review. It's not clear as to who that review is going to be. If it's the PAC, then it should be mentioned. But yet under the application process on the second page, it does state appeals can be made to the Messiah Board of Trustees if a proposal is denied. But again, it contradicts with the other, the RF, RA, and R1 zones, where it says the committee makes a final determination. So I'm just concerned with that language and verbiage and control of the committee. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, trustee. Any other comments or discussion?
Yeah,
And
well,
I'll answer some of that because it's
Okay.
sitting on that board. as
oh,
well.
you will, yeah, because I mean, some of this is just an explanation of how you arrived at this, because that is a concern there, right, on those zones. That why would those be different? You know, why wouldn't they at this with public art? And the other one is that existing installations prior to codification are exempt from parts of this ordinance, subject to review. I mean, I kind of would like to know what you're thinking or what the committee was thinking when they said that, you know, because it actually is a little bit convoluted. That, in my view, it says it's exempt, but then it's not, but then it's subject to review. So I think that's going to may cause problems with current installations, or, you know what I mean? So, I mean, stuff that's already there in any of the zones, whether they got approved or not, because we know that there's artwork out there that was never approved because partly because we didn't have an ordinance. And then we had that beautiful mural painted over for some reason, lousily painted over, that still looks like an eyesore, Mayor. We gotta paint it over better. But so yeah, if you could kind of look at that too.
Definitely. Do you have any comments?
No, I think this is a good start to introducing murals because it's something that we haven't done before. Well, we've had murals, but we've never officially had any way to regulate or say, hey, this is approved or not. When the PAC is reviewing all of this, are there guidelines to what is allowed and what's not allowed? Or is that just kind of based off of their opinion as a board?
Don't look at Eddie because Eddie wasn't necessarily a part of this process.
Okay.
So.
I'm just wondering, just to kind of figure out the concern that Trustee Johnson has. I understand giving some leeway to our committees, which is a great idea because that's input from residents and it's built from the community of our people. But is there some kind of guideline that they can follow as far as mural and what's allowed, colors, all of that kind of thing, just so there's a baseline and it's not solely based on opinion? That way it's a little more clarified, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I don't mind the committee doing it, I just want to understand what the guidelines are as we move forward with this.
So to touch on some of this, and members that are here that were part of that committee, you're welcome to step to the podium if you wish as well. But just to touch on some of that, when we look at it, I mean, just in general, you know, the Board of Trustees is a policy-making board that clearly defines policy and making policy, as well as the financial side of everything, which everything can always have a financial implication that comes in at any given point in time. But when we look at that, we have a lot on our plates already, and giving a little bit more opportunity to our committees to get the work done that's needed with the necessary oversight is there. And I think that was part of that big discussion that we had overall with everybody within the committee in doing this, because we did have a committee that was specifically created that did have a member of the governing body as well as the appointed body in there, and then members of the art community in specific. And looking at that kind of did a well-versed deal in all of that. We felt that it was extremely important that we did leave in the point of the appeal process in the event that something did get appealed, just as it does follow our current ordinances and applications that come before us. If anything does get appealed by the planning and zoning board or any member of thereof, it would come to the Board of Trustees for full review in that process, and the Board of Trustees making that final determination on whether it is duly approved or denied, one way or the other. So that's why it was important to have that process in there. When we look at the creation of this in the general requirements of the public art, in that first set there, in going through that, reviewed and approved by the Public Arts Committee, comply with the safety and standards of the building codes, avoiding offensive, discriminatory, defamatory content. And all of this is specific to the zone. So when we're looking at, and I think that's why it's important that we had in noting that we have to Trustee Johnson Burek's comments that at the very beginning, the agricultural zone and the rural farm zone and the R1 zones, when we look at those zones in specific, the color parts necessarily aren't written into that. That comes into the historic and the commercial areas within town for that, where you have to have the necessary means of meeting certain colors within that. So that's why that would have the oversight to be completed by the Planning and Zoning Commission, who duly notes what those colors are acceptable within those applicable zones that would be approved for that. And that's why there is that layer of oversight from those other committees and boards to make that part happen. And so the guidelines are set within our own ordinance as it is, as that is, so on and so forth. The existing installations is those are already set as they were, and I think that was part of what we had said, is that we don't want to necessarily have an installation that's been there for years already, that hasn't necessarily been cited by code, to come in and have an arbitrary decision that's made upon that to be taken away just because the committee doesn't necessarily agree with it. But it's been a part of the community for years upon then. So if there's any changes to that specific installation, then it would be subject to review at that given point in time. But otherwise, those that are already existing would be generally approved as is. Correct? And then
this was also developed looking at other communities such as Foster, so it's very similar process.
Awesome. Okay, I think that was a little confusing, that sentence. Thanks, Mayor, for that explanation. Although, still all decisions by PAC are final, and then you're still saying that although if somebody doesn't like the decision, they can still appeal it. So I think, that just needs clarification, right? I agree that the plates are full and there's enough representation on the committee to probably make the decision. But I still don't, that sounds kind of final because it says the word final, but then it says you can still appeal it.
Yeah, it's very contradictory.
So which is it, right? All the decisions for R1, RA, and RF are final by the PAC, but not really, because they can still appeal to the Board of Trustees, which is fine. I think we just have to, once you say it's final, what does that mean, except subject to? So I don't know, it's probably the wording needs to be clarified. Like if they still can appeal to the Board of Trustees in these zones, then it should be clearer. Does that make sense? When you,
To all.
yeah, the way you said it made it applicable to all of the zones and everything that came up to the PAC. but the way it's written, it sounds like there isn't an appeal process. Does that make sense? Sorry. And that's how it reads to us who have never seen it. But in discussions, I'm sure it made more sense. I mean, not that it doesn't make sense, but it was clearer to you guys. And then I just think that existing installations, just that sentence, I think needs to be a little bit different to make it clear that unless it's really outside of the ordinance, or there's something really, then it stays. You know what I mean? Because right now it's kind of saying that, well, no, it's kind of saying that it's exempt unless unless it's something, but it doesn't say specifically that it doesn't meet the ordinance. Or anyway, it's confusing to me, but maybe it's just me.
And yeah, Mayor, even with the explanation, I still have the concern with so much, again, so much control being given to the committee with, I think there needs to be more oversight because again, as a governing board, we are responsible for what our town looks like. And so I'm very concerned. One person's version of art can be very different from someone else's version of art. Everyone has their own opinions.
So let me ask you this, trustees, in that note right there, what would you like to see as something that would be an ideal change in this ordinance, in the way that it would read, or the oversight and who and how and what?
I think as far as oversight, I'm fine with PZAC and the PAC for all of the areas, just so it's going through two separate boards. But I don't necessarily think it has to come through us, because there's a ton that planning and zoning approves as well, that we just get the update of what's been approved, what hasn't been approved, and same for administration approvals. There's certain people in charge of certain things, and I don't think we have to go through all of these. I think doing the planning and zoning and having the PAC do it is fine. But that's just me.
I think I would prefer HR and HC coming to us as well, because then it brings to mind what we had to stop when, the Reuben Smith was designing that mural, but he had a sign on it that said no parking. And if that wouldn't have been, it would have been approved by PZAC. And if it would have stopped there, it would have been having that signage on there, which is not part of a mural.
And see, I just want to note that I think that in some of this in the process, and I think that was something that was taken into consideration by the committee, is that this can be a dual-edged sword when we think about it. Because it's a lot of feedback that I get from our residents as well as our business owners, and I'm sure that you've received that feedback, is that some of our processes can be very cumbersome and take a long time to go through. And it's not necessarily that something like this doesn't need to have that. It's just that if in the time frame that we have the PAC, that when an application comes in, the time frame that we get the PAC together for review of that may be 2 weeks. Then if it's an off week for the Planning and Zoning Commission, then it's another 2 to 3 weeks until Planning and Zoning hears it. Then it's another 2 weeks until the Board of Trustees potentially hears it. So here we are a month and a half, 2 months down the road before somebody's investment doesn't necessarily
This
move
isn't
that what it is.
a business, it's public art. And if that's the process, then that's what the process is.
No, I'm just stating that in that side. So
Yeah, I mean, that's why we've
And-
been allowed, that's why the plaza still looks like it does all these
Mhm.
years. That's
Yeah.
the process.
And I mean, and I think again, you know, the the town of Mesilla property, I think should come through us because that does represent the entire town of the Mesilla. So, I mean, I think, and the historical zone. So, you know, I I think, I think we're very empathetic with doing things as efficiently as possible for staff and the P&Z and PAC and everything. But I tend to agree with Ms. Johnson that that in order for us to continue to preserve Mesilla the way that we have been, is this doesn't quite meet that, I don't think.
Okay.
And and I'll think about, I just, saw this over the weekend, and it's really a lot of good work. I mean, tremendous work for sure. And, looked at everything and is really, really good. It's just that we know that it's going to come up a lot. I think it's going to come up a lot. And I think we can potentially avoid issues if we just tighten this up a little bit, maybe have a little bit more oversight. And if it does take 6 weeks, it takes 6 weeks. You can't get a construction job done in 6 weeks. So if they applied for a mural while they were doing construction, we'd have it. We could look at it, even if it went through the committee and the departments, I think. And not, I mean, I feel like a little bit like we're trying to be, everybody's art critic, but we're not. So I think there's a compromise in here.
Well, this is something brand new that we don't have. So I think it's good that we, and that's why the process in opening the discussion prior and then sending it back to planning and zoning for their review, then coming back before us for further review, because there needs to be time for everything to soak in. It is a lot of information, especially in something that isn't already existing, in that has the potential to need the changes, which there are changes that are noted, so that are easy.
Yeah.
Eddie, you had addition?
I was just want to comment on the has final decision on the ones that were there. I wasn't involved too much on this putting together this ordinance, but that is actually pretty common language. It is currently on our code. It does say that sometimes on some of our special use, I believe it's a special use permit. But what it refers to is final answer, meaning if the board of trustees, PZAC or PAC make a decision, the only other option is to go appeal it. It's not, I'm not gonna go back and revisit the same
Gotcha.
case if you wanna bring it back to me
Gotcha.
because I missed something or you got new evidence or whatever, I got a new drawing. It's final, and that's what it's referring to. So it's kind of, it's pretty common language to use it that way. This is an explanation, but we can definitely change it. That's not, be a little bit more clear.
And it probably causes confusion then too.
Yes.
Or us saying, or a resident saying, hey, that's not what it says, right?
yeah,
It says this,
Just like, I've read that.
I think you're right.
It's just common language, but it's not, I don't think it was intended for that. For that specific reason, but it's just that,
Gotcha.
we're hearing the same case over again.
I see. I mean, that makes sense now that you say that. Yeah,
It needs to be explained in writing.
yeah.
And I think Mayor too, like Trustee Cadena said, yeah, just I would like some more time to thoroughly review it because I only, spending time over the weekend, kind of looking at, I guess, other ordinances that we could pick from.
Mhm.
Some more time, I would appreciate.
Great. Thank you very much for, any further discussion? All right, thank you very much for that thoughtful discussion on this, and we will have this going for review. We'll make some of the changes in here and have it for review, redlined with for the Planning and Zoning Commission. Next item on the agenda is approval of resolution 2025-25 for budget adjustments.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick, second by Trustee Johnson Burek. And I will open it up for discussion.
Does anybody have any questions? It's just, we've got some new projects. And the law enforcement fund was that, what is it, $9,000 less. So we're sending that adjustment to the state. Thank you.
Any questions otherwise? No? Gloria, if we can have a roll call vote for the approval of resolution 2025, 25, motion by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick, second by Trustee Johnson Burek.
Trustee Johnson Burek?
Yes.
Trustee Cadena?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Merrick?
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 3 yes.
Great. Thank you very much for approval of resolution 2025-25. The next item on the agenda is approval of case 061976 for 2685 Calle de Parian, submitted by Michelle Devlin, requesting permission to put up a shed in the historic residential zone.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick, seconded by Trustee Johnson Burek. I will open it up for discussion.
Mr. Mayor, yeah, this is the case number 061976, just very briefly. It's at 2685 Calle de Parian. It was submitted by Michelle K. Devlin. They are requesting a pre-manufactured shed, 8 by 12. It's a temporary shed. It's does not need a CID permit, as the shed is under 120 square feet. And the shed is within the setbacks on the property. They are aware that the setbacks on the property is 7 feet all the way around. There is a site plan or site map if you want to take a look at it. Towards the second to the last page. And the last page, there is the shed, the pre-manufactured shed. Any question or please propose? I stand by for any questions.
Trustees, any questions?
It does not require a what because of its size?
A CID permit?
Okay, that's, thank you.
Is there any other questions? Seeing as there are none, Gloria, if we can have a roll call vote with the motion on the floor for approval by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick, second by Trustee Johnson Burek.
Trustee Cadena?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Merrick?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson Burek?
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 3 yes.
Thank you very much for approval of PZHAC case 061976. Next item on the agenda is approval of PZHAC case 061977 for 1891 Avenida de Mesilla, submitted by Tom Hutchinson, requesting approval to construct a storage shed on his commercial property in the HC.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick, second by Trustee Cadena. We'll open it up for discussion. Eddie, if you will, please.
Yeah, case number 061977, 1891 Avenida de Mesilla was submitted by Tom Hutchinson. He has requested approval to construct. This one here will be a site built on property. It is in historic commercial. The background, Mr. Hutchinson is requesting approval for the shed so he can store his restaurant equipment / utensils, office supplies, etc. Shed will be constructed of fire-resistant material as applicant is looking to be within 2 feet of the property line. The shed will align with the other 2 existing sheds. It will fit right in between the other 2 existing structures. I apologize. The other 2 existing structures are also within 2 feet of the property line. It is looking to line them up for more of a visual kind of thing, so it doesn't look staggered. The structure will be similar to architectural design, and structures, all the structures are painted with each other earth tone colors. I apologize. The Seattle Town Code, the structures constructed to the property line, 0 lot line shall require a right of entry agreement signed by all property owners of adjacent properties for construction and maintenance that is recorded in Williamette County and filed with the town clerk. We know that there is a supporting documents there. The board planning and zoning did approve it 5-0. There was no issues with this permit. Proposed shed and also a map there where it's being proposed as well. And I stand by for any questions. Oh, and lastly, it was reviewed by CID, Fire Department, and Public Works. And site. I stand by.
Mr. Mayor?
Trustee.
Yeah, okay, so you answered my question. I was gonna ask you this overall size and if it needed CID approval. And what was that last statement? Did it get all the signatures that it needed? Because it's not on the application.
Not on the application, it's the last sheet. Whenever you send it for the e-signature, the e-signature signs the
Oh, there
last
it
sheet
is.
of the packet.
Oh,
And that's just,
that little bitty stuff right there?
Yeah, on page 51.
not what it is.
The one that I thought was just, yeah. Thank you. All right.
Any other questions, trustees? Seeing as there are none, Gloria, if a roll call vote, please.
Couldn't even see
Mayor
those.
Pro Tem Rivera,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson Burek,
Yes.
Trustee Cadena,
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 3 yeses.
Great. Thank you very much for approval of case 061977 for 1891 Avenida de Mesilla. Next item on the agenda is a PZHAC subdivision request 061978 for 2060 Calle de Parian, submitted by Oakley Hatfield and Julian Hatfield. DBA Appaloosa Limited LLC, requesting approval to subdivide the property in the HC zone.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick, second by Trustee Cadena. We will open it up for discussion. Eddie, if you'll take it off.
Yes, this is a subdivision of request 061978. It is for a property on 2060 Calle de Parian, was submitted by OPP Hatfield and Julian Hatfield. DBA doing business as Appaloosa Limited LLC, requesting approval to subdivide property. It is in a historical commercial. The background, the request is to subdivide current parcel, which is 0.112 acres, into two parcels, one being 0.0638 acres, and the other being 0.0486 acres. Moreland Engineering and Surveyors will be doing the replat. Both parcels are constructed to the zero lot line. There is a narrow walkway between buildings, parcels. Applicant is seeking alternate summary subdivision due to the parcels being from one to two parcels before. Structure occupied 99% of the parcel. Little to no regulations on the historical commercial zone with the code. Mesilla Town Code 18.40.50 development standards does not regulate lot sizes, historical commercial zone. I do recommend approval. To answer some of the questions during public comments, a alternate procedure subdivision is listed in our code because it deals with a lot of unforeseen requests when it comes to subdivisions. It's used commonly for subdivisions such as divisions in private roads, divisions in such as this where there is no property, so like 99% of it. Our title 17 for subdivisions, if you read through it, it's basically for developers coming in, buying large parcels, subdividing them. Where you go with the infrastructure, obviously there's no infrastructure here that needs to get regulated or anything like that. So the alternate procedure subdivision is requested, and those are handled case by case. Depending on the situation and what the P&Z sees and what the code states. So again, there could be some conditions imposed if need be for approval, but there was two parcels before. It's just being requested to go back to where it was. It was reviewed by the planning and zoning, and we did not see any issues with it. So that's that line.
Trustees, questions? Or discussion?
And this one's a little bit weird. I mean, you had to pick the alternate summary procedure to put in a category under subdivision or what? I mean, I don't quite understand.
In order to follow Title 17, there are lots of requirements on Title 17 that you will require for a large development, and such as, fire extinguishers, infrastructure, those
Yeah.
kinds of things.
Right.
So whenever you try to
run this request through that process, then it doesn't fit, because that's not what they're trying to do. But now what they're trying to do is just subdivide one parcel into two. So therefore, because we can't just pick and choose which ones to follow during Title 17, it's either all or nothing in a sense, or you would go through this title alternate procedure, and then we would review on a case by case, and the board, I mean, the P&Z, the commission, and just the board, this board would determine what would be the requirements, what needs to happen.
Okay, so that is 17.35 alternate summary procedure? Okay.
And it's a very small title, there's not much in there, it just says, P&Z chooses the right time to have a hearing, they can waive, certain regulations, certain requirements, and that's what it would follow.
And so it's, I mean, it doesn't show that, do we know when it was actually two properties?
I can answer that question, to be honest with you, it's been a while, I don't know, maybe the applicant can answer, but I can answer that question. You want her to come up?
Yeah, I mean, just because, I mean, the seller just put it together. I mean, I'd like because we get into these things sometimes, right? Where we've already made an exception or we've approved a variance for something to be done, and then we're asked to reverse it or do it again or whatever. So yeah, if she'd like to come up, I just want to understand how this all happened. That
So, I'm Julian Hatfield. So we went to buy a building and they go, oh wait, this one goes with it. And they had different lot lines and everything. We're like, what? And they said, no, you have to buy both. And we're like, so we're buying two lots, basically. And so it is two different properties, but because we bought it together, I guess we just want to do our due diligence, but we went back to the engineer and made sure, like, we went over the lot lines and everything, and I think you submitted, right, the picture of, it's just the same subdivision, it's just they wanted us to buy it. They wouldn't sell it to us separately.
So are you using what you have now, both lots?
All rented, yes.
Oh,
So
okay.
they're all rented, they're separate properties. Someday we may want to sell one, and it'd be easier if we had that division defined, even though it was already predefined.
I'm sure the county probably has a record of,
Does the county have a record of that?
They
He is the contractor, so,
oh,
and I think you correct that, right?
I'm sure the county has it on record.
I'm Mark Segaris, working with Julian and OD. The warranty deed shows originally as 2 units. There was an A and B unit that at some point came together. And when they purchased it, it was that way. I went to the county to try and sort it all out. They could not help me very quickly with the records and said it'd be easier just to go ahead and talk to the town of Mesilla. And since one building was built in the 1800s and the other building was built in the 1950s, there were obviously 2 separate pieces that were conjoined for this parcel. And so they would just like to split it
And
back again.
there's property in between it, and there's a line, I mean,
Yeah, there's a walkway.
they're not like blended together.
Yeah, they're not, they don't
They're
have
not
a
attached.
joining wall. And it's going to be resurveyed to reflect that for property tax records and things, but the Hatfields didn't want to go through that expense until they knew for sure that the town of Mesilla would be agreeable to allowing them to split them. And so that's why we have Borderland Engineering and Surveys, Chris Scanlon, do the presentation, the drawing you have.
Thank you.
Well, I think that just for clarification, just in knowing, and for trustees as well, in thinking that, we can go and find out information from the county, But just as we've seen, sometimes the county has conflicting information that,
Yes.
that doesn't go with our ordinances that has already been approved by the county. What we have here from the sound of it is a single property that is two separate defined structures that they're just wanting to have two separate defined property lines, right?
And one is historical, one is not.
Yeah.
I don't know if that matters.
I was trying to pull up Doñana County GIS just out of curiosity, but I haven't been on it in a week now, and they just updated everything on there. So it's I'm gonna have to jump on there
Right,
and play it.
sometimes they
So
don't help because it just depends on
conflicts
how
with them.
they, because a lot of the RAs and RF zones are
I
not
think
zoned
Mark was
correctly.
sent to 4 different offices, and so, I don't know.
They simply told me their records didn't go back that far. It was gonna take a title search to do it. And, again, we were trying to avoid that expense as well as the surveying expense until we knew if it was even gonna be
Okay.
okay with you folks.
Great. Trustees, any other questions or discussion?
Mr. Mayor. You know, when you look at these buildings especially around the plaza, you'll see a lot of buildings that are in one structure, but they're different owners, right? And that they share a common wall. And that is, you know, that was just, I don't want to say a practice, but that's common for a lot of these buildings around Mesilla. They have the same common wall. This one doesn't have it in particular, but it's very, very close to having a common wall. So if a property owner of those buildings that wants to sell a common wall, they're not gonna sell the whole building, they wanna sell just their portion of it. And that's why you treat that as property as it would be a parcel, because that's what they're getting, that's what they're selling, right? And they're trying to do the same thing here, they're trying to subdivide those two structures of being each individual, so in case in the future, there is a potential of somebody buying it, or whatever their plans are on doing it, they're able to do that. That is when they're sharing common wall, you consider that portion of the building as you would consider looking at a parcel. It's basically the same thing.
And I guess when you explain it that way, I mean, it happened with my family, the Fountain property, and they're all, it's different owners.
And so really, it's a property. I mean, the parcel of building is still a property.
Right.
And since there are two parcels, two buildings, they're trying to make one each parcel.
Thank you for that clarification. Any other questions or discussion? Seeing as there is none, Gloria, if we can have a roll call vote of approval of the case as it was motioned by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick, seconded by Trustee Cadena.
Mayor Pro Tem Merrick,
Yes.
Trustee Cadena,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson Burek,
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 3 yes.
Great. Thank you very much for approval of PZHA subdivision case 061978. Next item on the agenda is going forward with the presentation of a proclamation by Mesilla Valley Regional Dispatch Authority, right? MRVDA. The easy way to do that, right? For National Public Safety Telecommunications Week.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the board. I'm Vanessa Ordonez, and I'm the police chief down in Anthony's. So I've been on the board for 7 years with the Mesilla Valley Regional Dispatch Authority, and the last year and a half I've been the chairwoman. And so through that time, I have witnessed firsthand, even being on patrol, you know, if I go out on calls, I hear the dispatchers and all the work that they do. And I really appreciate that you all are taking the time to recognize their hard work and effort. So I love Mesilla, and thank you for having us here. I'm going to turn it over to the Mesilla Valley Regional Dispatch Authority Director.
Good evening. So I have a little comment real quick, and I apologize that we were not here at probably at 5 p.m., but I was actually enjoying dinner with my team today. So thank you very much for having us. So I just want to talk a little bit about my team. So on behalf of Mesilla Valley Regional Dispatch Authority, I want to extend our heartfelt thanks for proclaiming the week of April 13th through 19th, 2025 as National Public Safety Telecommunications Week. This recognition shines a well-deserved spotlight on the dedicated professionals who serve as the unseen but absolutely vital first link in the public safety chain. Since VRDA's establishment in 1989, our mission has been to provide high-quality emergency communications to the residents of Doña Ana County, including the town of Mesilla. In 2024 alone, our telecommunicators managed over 347,000 calls for service, each one of those calls representing a call for help. And each one was answered with professionalism, precision, and compassion. Being a telecommunicator is more than answering just telephones. It is a career that demands rapid critical thinking, emotional resilience, technical expertise, and the ability to remain calm under the most intense pressures. These professionals must be able to juggle multiple calls, coordinate with law enforcement, fire, and EMS agencies, and provide life-saving mechanisms, all while managing the other end of the line. It is a demanding, high-skilled career that too often goes unrecognized. That is why it is imperative that telecommunicators in the state of New Mexico be reclassified as first responders, and we are working very diligently to have that happen. They are the true first line of public safety, and their work is every bit as vital as those who respond in person. Thank you again for your support, and we really do appreciate you acknowledging us this week.
Yes, and if I may, Ms. Jennifer. So as you all know, the events that transpired at Young's Park a few weeks ago, there were 5 dispatchers on the floor. And it's, just even for them, it is traumatic to hear that over the phone, right? And a lot of times that kind of goes unrecognized. Even as law enforcement officers, we're like, wait, what did they say? Like, they're not seeing what we're seeing, but they're feeling that. They're feeling what, whatever it is that call is. And so I appreciate it again that you all are taking the time to recognize the dispatchers in our community. Thank you.
Yes.
I think it's important that we do read the proclamation. Isn't that?
Yes,
why is that? I
please.
think we have to
Yes,
do that, right?
Please.
All right. So a proclamation declaring April 13th through the 19th, 2025 as National Public Safety Telecommunications Week. Whereas when an emergency occurs, a prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our police officers, firefighters, and emergency medical personnel is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Mesilla Valley Regional Dispatch Authority Communications Center. And whereas the professional public safety telecommunicators are a vital link between citizens and victims and are the first and most critical contact for our citizens that our citizens have with emergency services. And whereas the public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for our police officers, firefighters, and emergency medical personnel by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety. And whereas the public safety telecommunicators of the Mesilla Valley Regional Dispatch Authority are the first responders who contributed substantially as part of the public safety team. And whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year. Now, therefore, it is proclaimed by the Mesilla Valley Regional Dispatch Authority Board of Directors the week of April 13th through the 19th, 2025, to be National Public Safety Telecommunications Week in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our community and citizens safe. In witness thereof, on this 9th day of April 2025, signed Vanessa Ordonez, we're the board chair. Thank you.
Yay.
Definitely. I just want to say on a personal note that, through thick and thin, I've seen these guys work on everything. And there was a point in time, even when I was in their office a couple of months ago, when there was a movie being filmed in the office, and they were still working diligently hard around a movie casting crew, going in and out of everything. So it's great to see, and still have all these great smiles on your faces. That's what's awesome. Yeah.
Yes, so that was a very exciting exciting week at MRFA. We got approached by a film crew to ask if we would be willing to be the site of a major motion picture that'll come out in 2026. And so, there's a lot of challenges involved in that. We make sure we're a very secure building. We really protect our team. But I felt this was an opportunity to highlight our team as well. So we actually had 4 of our staff members act as extras. And got participated in the events. So that was pretty exciting and another thing to add to our catalog of things that we do in the organization. But as Chief Ordonez said, I really want to stress also the importance of our mental health of our staff members. And so after the events of March 21st over at Young's Garden and Las Cruces, it's been a struggle for my team. And so one of the things I think people really need to recognize is the fact that our other partner agencies have even if a very small brief period of time, they have a brief break in between calls, and we don't have a break at all. So we finish one phone call, we move directly to the next within seconds. We may already be handling the other phone call, in fact, at that exact same time. So on that particular evening, we had 148 calls come in within a very brief period of time, only specific regarding to that event, and I had 5 dispatchers on at the time. So you can only imagine the struggles that they've gone through. I do greatly appreciate all of our partner agencies and our communities for the amount of respect and honor that they give our team. And Las Cruces Police Department has been very active with our bringing in peer support and the Wounded Blue. In fact, I just got a phone call before I came talking with the Wounded Blue to make sure that our team was taken care of. And that really is very, very important. And we remember that the people on the other end of the line, while you're in an emergency, may also be experiencing their own. And so give us grace as we try to give as well. And we are growing. So for instance, that night there was only 5 individuals on, and when I left having dinner with my team this evening, we had 10. So we're moving in the right direction. And so we hope that we can continue to provide even a better service going forward.
Great.
So thank you very much.
Thank you again. Thank you for all your hard work. Next item on our agenda is public input, where the public is invited to address the board for any other matters.
My name is Sue Willis, and I'm on the CRS Building's house that's up to ditch that's been worked out. And I guess my question is, does the CI have any input over the event? Or is it, I know it's a Department of Transportation project.
It's not ours.
I knew that my ditch was going down with the big dump trucks arrived behind it on Friday. They dug it all down now, and it's been a bit of a mess. But I wanted to do it so that we could have some communication as to what was happening for our walk of the
There won't be, because of public comment, it's information that comes to us, and we can have it. We can give a little bit of input a little bit after public comment potentially, or you can reach out directly to my office, and we can go from there. And I'll find out the answers.
who I needed to talk to. They did give me Lorenzo's name.
Yeah. I was gonna say Lorenzo's a great contact, and I'm sure. Yeah.
And I don't really have any rights except that my fence is a 5-foot fence that was required when that subdivision was built. And I realized how exposed I am. Now the ditch is gone.
No, that's not there.
I do have a few bushes. But I looked at the street and everybody's putting, the people that are putting the ditches, they're all different. And I realized that just as a point, initially attended meetings pre-pandemic when the CIA went to the Department of Transportation. And at that time, it was going to be a rock wall. And I understand that it dropped because of financial constraints. But I think you might want to look at what it's going to look like when the ditch is gone.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Other public comment? Seeing as there is no other public comment, we will go into our next item on the agenda, which is Board of Trustee Committee reports and liaison updates. We will start, Trustee Johnson Burek.
Both the mayor and myself were able to attend the April 4th special meeting for the MPO and the regular meeting on April 9th of the MPO. The two primary things during that meeting was the resolution hiring the first ever executive director for the MPO of Mesilla Valley. So that's huge for our state. It's now a standalone MPO. And then the TPF applications that I'll let the mayor discuss. And I have no liaison report for this meeting. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Cadena?
Yeah, I attended the Friends of the Taylor Mesilla Historic Site Board meeting, and that was last Wednesday. Again, 19 people on the board, really interesting, very dynamic, lots is going on. The people from the historic site, the people that work there, said that it's been very exciting at the site because they're seeing a lot of people come in, and it's not even fully open. So they're just coming into the initial site. They're very excited about it. They're saying they're getting a lot of traffic through there, and so it's a really neat thing for Mesilla to be bringing these people in and for them to be stopping in when it's one small site. So when the site opens, it's going to be really exciting, and we'll have a lot of first timers come back again, I'm sure. The other thing is they've already done some school tours and not tours, but school presentations and things. They have 2 coming up, and they've developed these educational programs in conjunction with whatever the teachers needed them to do. And so that's been very exciting. The supplies are being supplied by the Friends, and that's what we were there to do. The group is there to do is supply the site with those kinds of needs. The other thing is there's a Taylor Talk this Saturday at 2:00. And right now there's a tentative date of May 30th to celebrate. No, okay. At some future date. Okay. Could be the 23rd, but this is really exciting. Mary Daniels Taylor's book, which is Mrs. Taylor, right? That wrote, her book is being reprinted. There's been a lot of demand for it. So there's going to be a reception opening when that does get done, and the right people have to be there. So that's the scheduling dilemma there. But we can definitely announce that again, and we as much participation all is when the site will open. The state, as you can report to, working really hard to get this done and to get the doors open and for it to be just a fabulous place for Mesilla to bring in visitors, which helps the businesses and the STRs and everything else that we're doing, and having to, and also the Friends are working in tandem with them, trying to get them what they need. So it's been really exciting to be a participant in it. I'm still on the upward learning curve. So, but that's all I have, I think, Mary Helen, unless there's something else. Okay. But if you have anybody has specific questions, of course, the site is open and they will answer all your questions, or you can call me and we can try to find answers. And that's all I got.
Thank you, Trustee. Mayor Pro Tem.
So we had the SCOG meeting. They just went through their 2024 audit and budget adjustments, so nothing too crazy. The next meeting for that is June 27th at 10:30 in Elephant Butte. And then I know they're also putting on a training session for capital outlay May 14th in Silver City. And then I'm not sure when the next MPO meeting is. I believe it's May 14th.
Yes, yes.
May 14th. I will be at that one. I didn't go to our special meeting. That's on a Friday. That's kind of hard for me. But other than that, and I have no liaison reports, nothing on traffic. As far as projects, I mean, I'll try and have more updates on those ones. I'll sit with Lorenzo more often and kind of see what's going on, especially university project, and try and keep up with that, because I did drive through there and there was people digging their fences out of piles of dirt. So I don't know what's happening, but there's a ton of people that live on that area trying to dig out their fences. So I don't know if we can look into that and see what's going on there. Other than that, I have no other comments.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. You all have my meeting report in the packet. Going through budget right now with everybody, trying to get that all updated. We did have MPO, as it was mentioned already. We did have an advisory meeting for the Taylor Monument. Some good information on that to give numbers. And I did do a walk around with the Department of Tourism this last week while they were in town. And we stopped in the Monument Visitor Center in particular, and they had reported even to the Department of Tourism that there's been over 4,000 visitors since the beginning of this year. And the monument's not even open. So I think that shows to basically a great attest of how great this is going to be for our community overall. I'm excited for all of that. Some good things with that coming along, as it was mentioned. They're still on the trajectory to have it fully open by November of this year. Yeah, I was going to say next year, but I'm thinking about the University Road project being November of next year as well, because that's when that one's supposed to be done. I did have our quarterly conversation with the Las Cruces mayor at Sunset Grill, where we've been doing that quarterly. It's been put on by the association group here in Las Cruces. With that, a lot of the questions this time, just as it was last time, revolved around public safety and in public safety in Las Cruces in particular, and then how it kind of comes into our community as well. So we had good conversations during that coffee talk. Did have a key stakeholders meeting with the county, with the new county manager, Scott Andrews. He's the one that actually pulled it together with members and mayors of the community, some economic development from his departments throughout, as well as key stakeholders kind of around the county. There's other people that will be added to that meeting, and he plans on doing that more frequently, but it was kind of just to bring everybody together so that we can all kind of be on the same page from a county standpoint to a city standpoint to just every key stakeholder that could possibly be involved, for congressional offices to emergency services to there was quite a few people. There was at least 30 people that were there in that boardroom when we were doing that meeting. I am holding a community public meeting this upcoming Thursday at 9 a.m. And 5:30 p.m. here in this room to kind of go over some of the projects that we're working on, to get input as well as feedback on projects, as well as upcoming projects that we will be looking at We will be looking at our ICIP and planning for that as well. So I'll be getting feedback in that. I do have a plan on how we're going to be going through that. So any members of the community that are available at either 9 a.m. or 5:30 p.m. or both, if you want to, please plan on coming and being a part of those discussions and what that looks like in that sense. We do have the training going on for ICIP upcoming, and then the American Bulk Sport Association is coming into town for a conference. So I will be giving an opening speech at that conference for everybody there. A little that I know that we are one of the stops here for the Bulk Sports Association as well, to get a stamp in that book. For those that go around and do that. So the Volk Sports Association is basically a walking kind of association and trails geared program to get people out and walking in our community, or in all communities, I should say. We did submit grants. I did submit the historic preservation grant. I think I mentioned that the last time. That was specifically for the update to our historic inventory. The grants for the PFF, which is our project feasibility form for our transportation project fund for the TPF applications. We did have 2 applications that were initially submitted for the PFF and for the feasibility of that. Those are moving through the process right now. That's for reconstruction of for Paisano Road to be reconstructed, and then for potential funding for the planning and design of Calle del Sur widening in down that side there. And then that could include improvements that go down the Calle del Sur road when we go through that process, if the funding is received for that one. But that one's for planning and design only. We do have congressionally directed spending requests that were also submitted to 3 of our federal legislators, being Congressman Vasquez, Senator Heinrich, and Senator Lujan. So we'll see what those look like, and hopefully we do get some congressionally directed spending coming our way to our community, because we, as I mentioned at the last meeting, we were slated to be getting that in upwards of $3 million to help out with our town hall expansion. And that was a request that I had done, but because the federal budget was not fully approved and that part for congressionally directed spending for communities was completely kicked out of the federal budget, we did not get awarded that, unfortunately, and that kind of died. So they just went for essential services when they approved the federal budget. I did submit for the Destination Forward grant. That is for potential funding for us to do a revamp on the visitor center here, as we've started kind of doing the community input process and getting that process going. So we'll continue that process and design work, and hopefully get funded for that by that grant to do the work on the visitor center itself. And then Dorothy did submit the Clean and Beautiful grants for parks, or sorry, not parks, for all the recreation and beautification that happens throughout the town. So I think that's some good things coming our way on that sense. So on that, I will also note that on the public meetings, I'm going to start doing those a little bit more frequently, and I want to try to team up with the trustees to work together to gain more public feedback and input all around on everything. We do have as it's noted on the events calendar, I do want to say that we do have a joint work session for our upcoming comprehensive plan that is with the Planning and Zoning Commission. That joint work session will be on Tuesday, May 5th, 5 p.m. So make sure, trustees, to put that in your calendar. The following day on Monday, May 5th. I'm sorry. Monday, May 5th, 5 p.m. for the joint work session. Tuesday, May 6th, we'll have our comprehensive plan community meeting, the second one that will be held at the community center itself. And then on Monday, May 19th, will be a joint work session for training on parliamentary procedures and Robert's Rules of Order Specifically, if trustees, if you want to attend that one, it will be virtually led by Rebecca Martinez from the Municipal League. That's when she was able to squeeze us in. I was hoping to have it earlier, but that's the soonest that she has on there. We will have, as it's noted, other in the calendar of events, other upcoming public hearings and information sessions, if you will. So with that, we'll move forward into our next order of business, which is Board of Trustee and staff comments. And I'll start with the Marshal's Department. Sergeant, if you would, please.
Sergeant Lourdes Hernandez, serving on behalf of Marshall's Department. So just a few things, our 700 radios have been installed in all our units and they're working well. We are preparing to order new vests and armor for the deputies. And we are recognizing the proclamation week for MRTA, Dispatcher Week. And just a note on that, I would like to offer resources to you all. I am personally a peer support point of contact, and we also have Deputy Lopez. We both have attended peer support trainings with Louisiana County Sheriff, so we work with them on peer support training and being able to be that person to speak to or to know where to offer resources to. Personally, I did work dispatch, so I do understand those struggles, and if you need any of your dispatchers to speak with me, or like I said, Deputy Lopez, we are happy to honor off shift peer support. That's how that works. And October there will be a training in El Paso, which I'm attending, so I'll send the flyer over. Oh, you guys are okay. And I will be attending the MPO feedback meeting tomorrow.
Thank you. Any questions, trustees? No? Thank you.
No.
Thank you, Sergeant. Fire Chief.
So, Mayor Gordon. Hi. Two of us were out last week for training at an arson investigation conference. So it's a pretty long week. But we've been waiting to do this for a little while. Not really giving a report today. More thanking you all for your support of the department. It's been very, very noticeable how you all take care of us and are looking out for us, trying to find ways to help us with budget. So the first thing Chief Embry is going to hand you all each is a challenge coin. You all know what that means.
I don't.
So usually when you have a challenge coin, it's a sign of remembrance of each party, and you might be able to exchange it with somebody else.
There's one for trustee Navarez also. And there's one.
These are very, very nice.
Challenge coin.
We're giving these to everybody.
Thank you very much.
Moving about through our budget without Gloria and I beating our heads together. On
I can't thank you enough.
Trustee Nevadas.
And then the last one is specifically for Mayor Hernandez because he is the leader of the town and I report directly to him. So in the event we ever have a major media event, he should be dressed appropriately.
Actually, it's a good idea.
Oh, it's something. Let's see.
Oh, look at that. That's awesome.
That's hilarious.
That's awesome.
It's not real. You can't do that. Look at his face. He's so cute.
It's cute.
It's very cute.
That's awesome.
He liked it so much, he ordered one for himself. That's not a Mayor Park, yeah, not- Very, Mesilla, New Mexico
I expect a
Super cool.
picture on Facebook and circulating on social media.
All right.
Your profile picture
Here-
needs to
here
be
we go.
changed.
So we did the groundbreaking for the new fire station.
Right. We're working on it. We're working on it. Remember.
And also, thank you to Murphy and the dispatchers. You guys keep us alive.
And we appreciate you very much.
That's
I mean, we have an amazing team. So thank you for everything that you all do. I think that's the most important part on that. So. I know what you're doing here is because you know my daughter, my youngest one, that she's debating right now on whether she wants to be a police officer or if she wants to be a firefighter. So you're just trying to seal the deal in all of that. I see what's going on here. Right, exactly.
So any questions about anything that's going on in the department? We're still dealing with some of the remodeling things, little issues here and there. Everything's covered in dirt from the giant storms we've had, so back again. It's more like shoveling, not cleaning. Please come by the station sometime. Check it out.
Great. Thank you very much. All right. Public Works, Mr. Lorenzo.
Mayor, Board of Trustees, Lorenzo Sorga, Public Works Director. Just a few updates on the projects that I'll will elaborate on. As you can see, we started, or A Mountain has started to demolish the Calle de Santiago Bridge. They're moving along with that project, and hopefully we'll get some pipe in there and get that one moving pretty fast. So that one is actually has a little bit of hiccups in it, but you know that's the way it goes in construction. But it's going to move along pretty fast. And also too with as you can see, I don't know if you've gone down Santiago right here at the turn from Avenida to Calle San Albino, that it's kind of they're out. We waited for supposed to be moved. That part of the construction will be beginning also too. I'll put that in a TBD because we're not too sure when they're going to start that. But the pole has been moved. There's no more little trees. There's no more little banners there, and it's just ready for it to finish off its construction there. The Calle del Norte will also be a TBA on that project. I'll bring up some updates on that one soon. We'll move over to University. University, of course, what's going on right now is they went into phase number 2, which is now all a one-lane road from South Main all the way to Avenida Mesilla, going west only. And they're over there at the EBID pump, where there's an EBID pump, where they did start clearing out, the backs of Capri Art, the backyards and all of that. Due to the fact, of course, that that's all going to be going underground. They started putting in the 10-inch pipe already that goes to that will have it covered. So that's going to be going on, lasting through November of the 2025. So we will be having just the one lane there, and I'll try to keep. I try to talk to the to the NMDOT and La Caberita as frequent as I can to bring the updates, and I'll try to also get them more involved with us and see if we can give updates to the residents as best as I can give also too. And as far as that, I'll stand by for any questions.
Nothing here. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorenzo.
Thank you very much. All right. Mr. Salazar, Economic Development.
Good evening again. Lisa, Community Development. There's quite a few things we're doing. Ordinances, it does take some time for review and back and forth. This Thursday, we'll be having our second workshop with the planning and zoning to review the upcoming hearing that we're gonna have on the 21st. And it's regarding telecommunication facility, cell towers, the sign ordinance and Title 18, some of the changes with the alternates and such that we're making there. Along with that, Ms. Deanna, she has been in contact with Ms. Cat Williams up north with SHPO, Cultural Affairs, and she's working diligently with the COG, pushing a little bit, giving her a little push. We need to get moving on that. Along with that, part of that is resumes and such from our commission. I think we have a pretty strong commission. I think some changes that she mentioned that we do have to do to our ordinances to kind of meet some of those requirements for the COG, but I think we're just that one step closer to that. I think, to me, it's exciting because this is really going to help our community. It's going to help a lot of these dilapidated buildings that have been sitting there. Some of these grants, some of these monies could be funded, and I have to pay it back. You know, there'll be a five-year that you have to stay on that. Obviously, you got to meet all the requirements. So yeah, that's exciting. And then along with that is a comprehensive plan. Comprehensive plan we've been working with along with Mayor with Site Southwest, specifically with the surveys and the historic registry. You know, we do have a volunteer that's been putting together, collecting the dots, as you can say, with some of the actual paperwork. Some of these buildings, the numbers, I believe, is from 1 to I don't know, 300 and something. So we're trying to, again, put all those puzzles together. So that's kind of exciting as well, to be able to get out there and update that and hear the stories of some of these residents have with their buildings, with their homes. That's very pleasant to do. Also, I believe this next meeting, we will be having a records management. There are some records we do wish to destroy that we don't need. A lot of clutter with the records. We like to clean those up a little bit. For the meantime, we are scanning them. We are placing them in a computer. We're saving them twice, you know, just in case, you know, something happens to our hard drive. We do have the external and obviously the network there where it goes to the S drive. So what else? Training. Mary mentioned we do have some training coming up, specifically with the New Mexico League, with the, as mentioned, on the 19th. On the 21st, we do have a conference in Taos, which is exciting. I think that's our yearly one. I think it's good to do some networking and talk to some people about ideas and such. So other than that, that's the only thing that really comes to mind, and I stand by for any questions. I did submit the report. Most of that's on there, so if I missed anything, I apologize.
Thank you very much. We'll still clap. Why not? Finance. Dun, 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 dun.
Ashley and I attended the Municipal League Spring Conference in Taos last week. It was long, but it was very informative, very helpful. We had presentations from Workforce Solution. AJ, he's the director of Municipal League. He came, spoke to us. Sad news is the insurance might go up 15 to 20% this year.
Oh, great.
That's what they're anticipating. So that's gonna hit our budget. So but it was very, very helpful. It exposed Ashley to new things that I would tell her and she'd go, I don't know what that is. And then it starts making sense to her. So it's been very helpful. It was very helpful. So, and we're working on budget. Okay?
But surely. Thank you, Ms. Gloria. All right. To everybody's department, any questions so far, trustees? Trustee Johnson Burek?
The last meeting, we had some discussion about the site plans being included with permits. And I just wanted to mention that chapter 15.15 of our building code, under letter C, historic zone or commercial zone permits, that it states applications for all proposed work except for work described in subsection B of this section shall be required to submit the following information. And the application is required to be submitted with plans, site plan, and other required documents such as, and then it goes into other supporting documents. So I knew it was somewhere. And so it was a nice reminder for me that, yeah, we do need to have these with our applications. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Cadena?
Again, I just want to thank the committee, the art mural committee, for doing all that work and putting together that new ordinance. I think it's really moving forward pretty fast. So that was really great. And of course, making updates to our ordinances are important because I don't think that's been done for a while. And of course, I want to thank our staff and our first responders and so forth for all they do and working for us. Thank you so much. And that's all.
Thank you, Trustee. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to our first responders, including MIRVDA. Thank you for that presentation and that information, because that is a lot and not a lot of people to help with that. And other than that, I have no comments.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Some other points were brought up this evening in the CLG certification. And my goal is to try to get that submitted by the end of this month to Historic Preservation Division. And with that being submitted, it will probably be a 3-month process for them to turn that application around. That's the goal. Sometimes things get derailed, and we do have budget, so budget will have priority over everything. But that's the goal, is still to try to get that certification submitted. The comp plan is moving along. There is a survey that is out there as well. It's posted here, there, and everywhere. It's posted online as well. So make sure to drive down on that link, that QR code. If you don't have that, let me know and I'll get you the information on that. That way we have that as much public feedback as possible. When I spoke with Danny the last time, I think there was 35 to 40 responses on that. So I know she's hoping to get a little bit more input than that. So if you haven't taken it or know anybody to take that, please share that information to get that out there. And then, of course, we will have more public information sessions coming up soon. But if you do have that information ahead of time that's provided through that survey, that's a lot of the information that she's going to be presenting, those numbers and that information during that community meeting that we're going to be having, as well as what comes out of the joint meeting between the Board of Trustees as well as the Planning and Zoning Commission. All right. And I think that's all that I have. And if there is not any objection, I will call this meeting as adjourned. 7:16. Thank you all.
Great job, guys. He should have to put his helmet on.
Right. That's all you want to see.
Are we taking